The Tamiya 114 scale Aeromax truck is underway. Hey guys, welcome back to Tamiya Legends, and once again thank you for stopping by. So yeah, it's up to this stage, and I'll just say right off the bat, this is the best kit I've ever built so far, and that's probably because it's so different, but I honestly can't tell you how much I've enjoyed putting this together. I started very early yesterday morning and finished it late last night. Now, I say finished it, this is just a rough build. There's probably double the amount of work left to do on it yet, but we'll go into that as this video progresses. But what a thing. It's bigger than I thought it was going to be, and it's way heavier than I thought it was going to be. Anyway, let's go through the build process, because it was rather special, to be honest. So the first process was to sort of separate the kit and get all the body set stuff away from it. Probably half this kit, if not more, is the sort of body set. It's, as you can imagine, it's going to be very detailed. So I separated all that into the boxes. I also ordered, when I bought this kit, a full set of bearings for it. It's going to be a long time before this thing ever runs, but I thought as we're building it, we may as well get the bearings in place. And then next up was putting the very sort of basic chassis together. So I guess you would call this a ladder style chassis. Two long metal plates, and then you have these like plastic strengtheners. There's a lot of metal in this kit, as you'll see as we start to go on. But yeah, that's where I first sort of realised how sort of big and long this kit is. As I say, it's 1/14 scale, but once towards the end of it, when I started to sort of get the total size of it, I was like, yeah, this is way bigger than I thought it was going to be. So it was the shocks next. Now, these are really nice, anodised, like a pinky colour. Now, they're not oil shocks, they're just spring dampers, or I don't even know if you call them friction. They're just, because obviously all the suspension on this is metal leaf sprung. So the shocks, there's no work in putting those together whatsoever. Once they were built, it was about sort of bolting all the front end down, the leaf suspension and what have you, with the axles, or the wheel hubs, I should say. Again, a lot of metal in this kit, and the quality of it is really good. What I will do now, I'll just show you a very quick video, as you can see, of how the sort of leaf sprung suspension works at the front. Never really thought about suspension on a truck like this, with it being so heavy and not really moving that fast. So I don't actually know how good that suspension would be, but you get the gist of it from that little video of sort of how it works. And then we moved on to the rear leaf sprung suspension, which obviously on this truck it's a double rear axle, and again everything sort of bolts down to the rails. There's a couple of bits where we'll take a sort of nut and bolt, but I'd say the majority of it is pre-tapped in the metal rails. And as you do get a tube of thread lock for this truck as well, which I haven't used, I've got to be honest. I didn't come across any areas that I thought really needed thread locking, but that might be something I'll revisit. And then onto the rear axles. Now, I think what would have made this kit even more special to build had the rear axle casings been cast in metal. That would have been nice. I've no doubt you can buy them. I don't know if Tamiya did them, but I'm probably 100% sure it'll be an aftermarket version. They're still great in plastic. As you can see from the pictures, all the gearing is metal. It's got some serious weight to it, and again, all the bearings were going in place, and metal diffs. And it all goes together really nicely, to be honest. I was really impressed at the build quality. I mean, I always am with Tamiya, and you know what to expect, but this just felt better, to be honest. Again, I'll just put a couple of little videos that you can see of me sort of spinning it up and seeing what it does, and basically how the back end moves. Because it pivots as well. So on the front you've just got your normal suspension, but on the back, with it being double axle, you've got your suspension that works, but it also articulates. I don't know if that's the right word, but I think that'll give you a gist of sort of how it goes together. And then we got on to the fun part for me, which was the gearbox, because this was the first 3-speed kit I've ever had. So I was really intrigued to see how the gearbox went together. It was funny, when I was looking at the manual, I was like, whoa, this looks really complicated. And obviously, as you can see by pictures, you build 2 spindles up, and then you've got this rod, that's your adjustment rod with these 3 metal plates, which once it's all together, moves the gears up and down to get you 3 different ratios. By the time I put it together, I soon got quite a quick understanding of how it worked, and it's pretty cool, to be honest. As I say, it's the first time I've messed around with one. Yeah, it's pretty cool. What I'll do just quickly now, I'll just put a little video up. It's only, what is it? I think it's like 47 seconds long, just of me trying to show you on a loose gearbox how the 3 different ratios are selected. Look at this thing, Martin. It's absolutely incredible. You can actually do the gear changes with your hands. And feel the different ratios, but it's probably a little bit difficult to do. So this is your rod that changes the gears. So obviously it's 3-speed. So if I push it in, and then that's your freest gear, and then as I'm turning, if I release it, it clips back in, and that gets harder. And then if I pull this one while I'm turning it, that's in its like lowest ratio, and then clip it back in. That is absolutely incredible. I've never seen anything like that. Then the next stage after that, the whole gearbox it gets surrounded with 2 plastic casings either side. And then once you've got that done, then it gets mounted onto the chassis. And then obviously as you're doing that, you fit the prop shaft in at the same time, and then bolt it down with four bolts. And what I didn't mention, obviously the stage before, the small prop shaft joining both rear axles goes in place. So that was kind of the basic truck chassis sort of finished. And then we moved on, so you build the battery box up, and then that gets bolted to the chassis. Very straightforward. Battery goes in from underneath, so you'd have to remove any bodywork to get a battery in. At the same time, I built the full rear unit up. So as you can see, it's got mud flaps, it has the chrome lights. Now again, these are not built properly, these are just put together because as we get in towards the end of this video, I needed to get the truck to a certain stage so I can figure out how I'm going to paint it. And then after that, we did the 5th wheel, which was pretty cool. That's spring loaded as well, so it sits in the right angle. And it's also got a rod that you attach which opens it up. What I'll do, I'll just put on another video up just trying to show you that working. As I say, the actual 5th wheel spring loaded, but I guess you can put another servo in which will move that. Obviously if you're going to be disconnecting and connecting trailers to it, then you can make it all working with the radio gear, which is pretty cool. Again, there's a chrome plate missing from the back at the moment. But that doesn't need to go on. I didn't want to put it all together just for the sake of it, and then when I'm ready to paint it, I've got to take it all apart again. It was pointless. I only put the bits on I really needed, if that makes sense. And then it was onto the wheels and tyres. So obviously we've got 8 wheels on the back. Obviously there's an inners and outers, so you have a nice chrome facing wheel on the outside. They go together with 4 bolts, nut and bolt, to give you your dual wheels, and then in the kit you get some nice sort of heavy duty cast alloy wheel adapters, which was nice. I didn't expect those in the kit. And then the front wheels are just, obviously they're just standalone, but the front wheels take a pair of bearings in each. And then we got those fitted to the truck, and that's when I could kind of look at it and I was like, oh, this is cool. Got to play with the diffs and the overall drive and just make sure it was all kind of working. But yeah, the truck was kind of born then. And then, as I say, I just wanted to put the bare minimum of the body set on. So you start with the 2 side skirts left and right. That's just 4 bolts straight into the chassis. Very straightforward. Then on the front end, you've got a metal bracket already, and the front bumper goes on with 4 small bolts. and then those 3 sections are in place. I did, for painting reasons, I did fit the top cowling onto the main shell and bolt that down, because that's sort of an integral part of working out how I'm going to paint it. And then the actual main body shell itself, it has 2 sort of pips on the inside of the nose. So you lift it up, you sort of clip it in place, and then you pull it back down, and then there's 2 bolts that hold it down at the back end. There are a couple of other bits I need to add to it, but we'll talk about that when I drag the truck over. But that was basically the stage I needed it to get it to be honest. So let's bring the truck back and we'll have a few close-ups of it. And there she is. What a thing. And as again, I keep sort of emphasising there is so much more to go on to this yet. It's unreal. But sort of basic chassis wise, without there's no electrics fitted, but that's pretty much done now, and obviously it's fully ball raced. The bits of the body shell I have to add next, there's these gaps are filled with 2 plastic parts which sit on the inside of the doors, and they go on with double-sided tape, but I need that to get my masking lines. And what else is there? There's a little sunroof to put in, and then on this section obviously there's fancy dual chrome exhausts that go up, but there's some little fins that are probably about 20mm go down either side, so I need to get those on at some point as well. And then, as we'll talk about in the summary bit of the video, I've also bought some rear mudguards, because the whole thing wants to be colour coded. So paint wise, I need to figure out how I can get these dual mudguards on, which it'll just make the truck look just so much better. So as I said, it's the best Tamiya kit I've ever put together. Just very different from anything else. I suppose if you put a Bruiser or a Mountaineer together, it's like a miniature version of this with a 3-speed box and the metal chassis and what have you. But although this is nowhere near finished, I'm already thinking, like, do I want another truck in the collection? That's how good it was. It was so enjoyable. I think to get it to this stage, I think it was about, what would you say? I'd say it was about 11 hours I was working on it. But every second of it was just awesome. It really was. You know what it's like when, if you're like me and you built a lot of Tamiya kits, or just a lot of RC kits, 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, they're all sort of much of a muchness towards the end. But with this, everything was just brand new, and it was just like, oh, how does this go? And you're picking parts out, and before you're fitting them, and you're looking, oh, how does this fit and stuff. It was just intriguing all the way through. So what's next for this? Well, to be honest, I'm going to stay on this now until it's done, but there's a hell of a lot of work to do. As I said, next job is to fit these little fins on the body, put the sunroof in, and get the little plastics to fill this gap. And then the body shell, there's enough of the body shell on for me to start working out how to paint it, and also how to mask it. I also bought, when I ordered this truck, these are the rear mudguards, fenders, if you're in the US or North America. Now I saw this done on YouTube. I don't know how I'm going to fit them, but I saw a Ford Aeromax with these on, and we believe that they're from the Tamiya 1/14 scale dual axle Scania truck, the European truck. So I bought those at the same time. Got to be honest, I have no idea how I'm going to get them on or make them fit. But they have to go on, because as I say, if you don't know, this is getting painted as a Days of Thunder movie tribute truck. Now, it's not a racing truck, it's the tractor unit that takes the NASCAR to the events. That's my idea. But it's gonna have the same colour. I put a little picture up of the actual Days of Thunder car. I've done this paint job twice before, and it's just awesome. And it's one of my favourite movies. When it's done, people might not get it, but again, it's for me, and it's going to be very special. But the painting is going to be pretty difficult, I've got to be honest. And that's why these are so, because if you imagine the front end, you're going to have green on the front end with going with like 2 stripes down here with the yellow, and then it goes back into green, and the green will then follow on to the rear mudguards. That's why they're mega important. And I've got the decals already, I've got the paints, I've got everything. As I say, I'm staying on this until it's done. But yeah, there's a lot of work in it yet, because never mind just you've got to fingers crossed I've got to mask it correctly. So because of all these parts that come off, I've got to mask it in one go and then take the parts off and then spray them individually and hope when it all goes back together that my lines are one, crisp enough, but they follow on to all the different pieces. So there's a lot of work. And then of course, with it being a hard body shell, then you've got all the extra detailing. There's all the window frames, there's a lot of chrome to go on it, there's the exhaust, big mirrors, dual chrome grille. I've also got some Michelin tyre decals, and they're quite small. And I think if I can get this something close to what I want, I think some maybe Michelin or whatever others tyre decals on each tyre, top and bottom, might look pretty badass as well. So yeah, as I say, I built this thing yesterday, and then this morning was about getting this video made so you guys can see it. And then once I've got this video all finished, then it's just a case of coming back to this, and I envisage it's taking about a week from now, to be honest, because it's going to be very slow going. And I really hope I can make these mudguards fit, because it's such an integral part of how the finished truck is going to look. Anyway, sorry this has taken so long, because I know I bought this kit a long time ago. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the build as much as I did. Just absolutely awesome. So next time you see this thing, it'll be hopefully finished and in full Days of Thunder livery. So I really want to make Cole Trickle proud. I bet you're looking at the camera thinking, who's Cole Trickle? That's who Tom Cruise plays in the movie. Showing me age here. Anyway, I'll end this video here. So thanks so much for watching. It's massively appreciated. If you are new to this channel, if you could please consider liking and subscribing to support us. And if you do that, smash that notification buzzer for our weekly videos. It's not a buzzer, it's a bell. I always say that. And as always, my friends, happy RCing.